Everyone. So it is almost spring break time. Let's get through it, okay? So we're going to start science today by reviewing what a producer, consumer, and different types of consumers are, okay? So in your slideshow, if we open up to this slide, let's review the difference between a producer and consumer. So, in the ecosystem, a producer is an organism that uses energy from the sunlight to make its own food. That process, ladies and gents, that producers are able to make their own food is through photosynthesis. We will talk more about what photosynthesis later, okay? When I think of what are examples of producers in our ecosystem, plants, okay? Producers begin with a P. Plants also begin with a P. So they start the food chains as well. So when we talk about food chains and food webs, they are the first part of that food chain. Producers make their own food, plants, through photosynthesis. A consumer, think about if you consume food, what does that mean? Okay, you are taking in food, you are eating. Okay, so a consumer is an organism that must eat to get their own energy. They cannot produce their own food through photosynthesis. Okay. Leaves on plants are designed to capture sunlight, which the plants, including sunflowers, are using to make food. So in this picture, that is what is going on. That sunflower is using photosynthesis to produce its own food. All living things need energy to survive. A consumer is getting their energy through food. So in that picture, the rabbit is consuming food or getting its energy from fruits and vegetables. Okay, then we have a third type. It's called a decomposer. They actually end food chains. Okay, we'll talk again about that later. A decomposer is an organism that breaks down dead plants and animals. Some examples are bacteria and fungi. So let's meet and talk about three types of consumers. So consumer means they're taking in energy. They eat to get their energy. They cannot produce their own food like a producer. We have an herbivore. That's an organism that eats only plants. An example is an elephant. We have a carnivore. That's an organism that eats only meat, such as this tiger. Then we have an omnivore. That's like us, humans, okay? We eat meat and plants. So in the lovely world, a raccoon is a great example of an omnivore. Herbivore, only plants. Carnivore, only meat. Omnivore, a nice mixture of plants and animals. So in this example, the elephant might be eating roots, grass, fruit, and bark to get their energy, all plants. In this example of a carnivore, that tiger in the real world eats some deer, wild pigs, water buffalo, and antelope. And an omnivore in that picture was the raccoon, who eats a nice variety, some fruits, some berries, nuts, fish, frogs, insects, turtles, mice, and rabbits. All right. So we're going to look at this slide to do some independent work here. So out of present mode, you're going to look at the picture and decide whether it's a producer or if it is a consumer. You're going to label each picture with a P for producer and a C for consumer. We are not identifying if it's a carnivore, herbivore, or omnivore yet. So right now, out of present mode, you're thinking, is this fish a producer? It makes its own food through photosynthesis. And remember, think about producer is a plant, and I think about the color green because plants produce chlorophyll. It's a green pigment, okay, through photosynthesis. So right now you're just doing producer and consumer and decomposer, third one as well.